Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bellefonte Borough Council business meeting. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Clayton, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier.
Here.
Mr. Brackville.
Here.
Ms. Clayton, here. Ms. Dan.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Ms. McKean.
Here.
Ms. Purnell.
Here.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Here.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
I'm here.
Mr. Larson.
I'm here.
Ms. Meckley is excused, and Mayor Johnson, I believe, is on his way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Additions to the council meeting agenda in accordance with Act 65 of 2021. If a matter is not on the agenda, council cannot take official action on it with some exceptions. The council can act on matters relating to potential or real emergencies. Council may add a matter of agency business to its agenda through a majority vote. The council should state the reason why the action item is being added to the agenda. Council may vote to add an action item to the agenda.
Madam President, I'd like to add an item to the agenda under old business. And we just received the stamped pavement bids. I'd like to add those to be open tonight as a motion.
I'll second Brackville.
Thank you. Any discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackville.
Yes.
Ms. Clayton, yes. Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else to add to the agenda? Joanne, please.
Yes. Under communications, there's a flyer from the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission and CBICC. PHRC contacted me last week after Julie asked if this meeting was recorded. We were told no, but that if the borough was interested, for free, PHRC would be willing to hold a similar training in person, hybrid, or virtual, as we should decide. So I'm asking that instead of having a no motion considered, to change that to an item for action under, I think it's under communications.
It is. So you're making that motion?
Yes.
Okay, we'll need a second for that.
I'll second it, Purnell.
Thank you, Rita. Discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackville.
Yes.
Ms. Clayton, yes. Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else to add to the agenda tonight? Public comment. Borough Council intends to take public comment related to the motion that is on the floor after it has been duly made and seconded. The order of comment will be public comment and then council comments, including proposed amendments by council members. If amendments are proposed to the original motion, the public will then only comment on the amendments before final votes are taken. You must be a Bellefonte resident, nonprofit representative, business owner, or official representative of another governmental agency. Speakers shall identify themselves by name and street, municipality, if outside the borough of Bellefonte. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Moving on, just as an announcement, the Personnel Committee met on 3/31/2025 and 4/3/2025 to discuss personnel matters. Moving on to communications, there are concerns regarding parking enforcement in downtown Bellefonte. The complaint was provided to the police department and parking enforcement. The police and parking are aware of this and are working on that. Chief Whitmer, do you have anything else to add on that?
No, I don't, just that Officer Holter did speak with the complaint today, and we're looking into maybe a little more enforcement.
Okay, thank you very much. Bellefonte Area School District at a Glance and Friday Coffee newsletters are in your packet. There's lots of interesting and very good information in there. I'm wondering if we could at least put the email address or the address for the school district on our website if it's not already there, to link to that for anyone that wants to look at it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there a time? Is there a time for it? If we're,
This was just information only.
Yeah, it was just, I guess there's a Friday newsletter and then a general newsletter also. Council has been invited to the Independent Home Health Ribbon Cutting Ceremony on Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 at 11 a.m. And that is, the address is 220 West High Street in Bellefonte, Suite 1. Again, that is tomorrow at 11 o'clock for anybody who would like to attend. Ralph Stewart's resignation from the Center County Airport Authority is in our packet. We have a list of adult evening classes at CPI. No council action is requested. Again, you can check out their website at www.cpi.edu.
Could we put that on our website with a link to them?
I think that's a good idea, Joanne.
Yes.
Thank you. We also have the public accommodations training. Joanne, you brought that up to add.
So, for those who don't know what this is about, the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission is the enforcement and education agency for the state on civil rights, including public accommodations. Public accommodations are interactions between the public and any entity, whether it's a business or a municipality. The Center County Advisory Council of the Human Relations Commission did a survey that was completed last year that involved municipalities, schools, police enforcement, and businesses and nonprofits. And one of the things that came up really high was to have more training on public accommodations for both municipalities and businesses. On March 31st, CBICC partnered with the PHRC and the Advisory Council to hold a training at the CBICC headquarters. They, however, did not provide, it was a hybrid, so they had people both in person and via Zoom. They did not keep the recording, however. So I was asked last week, and the message went up to PHRC about having Bellefonte have their own training. And we can decide how that training is done. We could have it all in person. We could have it hybrid, where we would have it and have a recording done so that other staff members and council members who couldn't attend that could see it later, or it could be totally virtual. And it is totally free. And what it would be was learning about protections under the Commonwealth and federal law with a focus on reasonable accommodations and accessibility for individuals with disabilities. It would also touch on First Amendment limitations for public speeches, what we can and can't do. And since we've had some of those questions regarding Talleyrand Park, I think this would be quite helpful. So I'm making a motion to have administration in coordination with me, because I have the links between the two of them, to make the contact with PHRC to set up this training at our convenience and time and how we want to do it.
Okay, thank you. We'll need a second on that, please.
I'll second that, Clayton.
Thank you. Any discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackville,
Yes.
Ms. Clayton, yes. Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. Under the consent agenda, all items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the council request specific items to be removed for separate action. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion, Brackville,
Thank you, Randy.
as is.
Second.
Thank you, Joanne. Any discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackville,
Yes.
Ms. Clayton, yes. Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We will move on to reports. We will wait until the mayor arrives for his report. Mr. Larson.
So I just wanted to start by telling everyone that the fourth quarter has started, so we're in the last quarter of the year. I'm very excited. The Red and White had a March release, so that's the student newspaper. So I left the link there if you wanted to just get on there and look at some of the articles they made. There was a college commitment day for the people that are going to college and committed to like a sport, so I thought that was really interesting. Student Council had their stall day to raise money for Minithon, and it was a great success. We raised over $1,000 in just change, so it was really fun. The Fiddler on the Roof was the high school's spring musical. That ran from April 3rd to April 5th, so you can't watch it anymore, but it was really fun. It was really interesting. It had a great meaning behind it, so I liked it. And then we had senior portfolio presentations just to show us how prepared we are for our careers after we leave high school. So that's all for school. For extracurriculars, the Model UN had a 4-day conference that started on March 19th, and Student Council's Community Day was very successful. So that's all.
Great. Thank you so very much.
Barb, I'd like to just congratulate Mr. Larson on being the Elk Teen of the Month for April.
Oh, yay. How
Thank
very
you.
nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, under the OCA memo and the reports from Ms. Thompson, we do need a motion and a second to approve the 2 Saldo projects reviewed and recommended for approval by the Bellefonte Planning Commission.
So moved.
Thank you, Joanne. Do we have a second? Thank you. Do we have any discussion or questions?
Why isn't she here? Well, if you have a question, Mr. Seth is here for the one.
That's not happening.
I have a request, and this, I guess, can be passed along to her, but whenever she does these reports, acronyms probably should be defined, because I had to do a little search to figure out what a saldo was, and maybe I should have known that, but anyway.
There's a lot of them.
Yes, there's a lot of
It's hard.
acronyms in there. So that's just my request.
So we have a motion and a second to accept these. No discussion? Could we move on with a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackville,
Yes.
Ms. Clayton, yes. Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Before we move on to the next item, when I was looking over the packet in Lori's budget versus actual report for this month, I noticed that the short-term rental fees have already exceeded what we budgeted for this year in terms of income. Could we have a report from Gina as to how many short-term rentals have renewed their permits and how many are either outstanding or have decided to shut down? That would be helpful, because it surprised me that it was this early that we'd already exceeded what we had expected.
What's the question? I'm sorry, Joanne, I didn't get a chance to write that down. Could you
Okay.
repeat the question?
In Lori's budget, we were over 100% of income received from short-term rental fees. And so what I'd like to know is get a report from Gina on how many short-term rentals have renewed their permits, how many are outstanding, and if there are any that have decided to shut down, so we have a better idea of what's happening with the short-term rentals.
Thank you, Joanne. Okay, we will move on to current and old business. Sunnyside Paddle Park Submerged Lands License Agreement. Could I have a motion and a second to approve the Sunnyside Paddle Park Submerged Land License Agreement, please?
I'll make that motion. Brockville.
Thank you. Thank you, Shauna. Is there any discussion or questions on this? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
CATA Bellefonte Beeline Services for 2026 on May 5th. Dave Lomason, Center County Transportation Director, will be in attendance at the work session for council. No council action is requested. Joanne or Deb, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, just briefly, CATA has sent their request for funding for the next fiscal year. What's in the packet was actually the original communication from them. I think it says $40,000. 2 hours later, we got a revised quote on that. It went to $60,000. In the meantime, the Transit Task Force has been meeting with the County Office of Transportation, and we think we've come up with a much less expensive solution for transportation, public transportation for Bellefonte residents. Dave Lomason, who's the director of that program, will be here on May 5th for a work session to explain how his program would work and how it would benefit us.
Great, thank you very much.
And just for the purposes, since these are all public meetings, the Public Transit Task Force meeting has been canceled for tomorrow night.
Okay, thank
We
you.
will have the other one at the end of the month, but we're not having one tomorrow.
Okay. We need an approval for resolution number 0407-2025-01, adopting the police department's updated policies. Could I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 0407-2025-01?
So moved, Cleaton.
Thank you, Debbie.
Second.
Thank you, Joanne. Discussion on this. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
We need a delegate and an alternate for PSAB annual conference voting. Due to Doug Johnson not attending the conference, a new alternate will need to be selected. Council action is requested. We'll need a motion and a second to appoint Deb Cleaton as the delegate and Joanne Tosti-Vasey as the alternate for voting at the PSAB annual conference.
I'll make that motion. Johnson.
Thank you, Doug. I'll second. Thank you, Shauna. Discussion. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
And Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, could we put your report in here, please?
Absolutely, thank you. I just wanted to report that we had our second Community Advisory Committee meeting. It was held here, went over very well. Senator Tackett was here. He had really good information about some local things in the area, such as the pending issues with the prison. He is very, very community oriented and said, please reach out to him, even though Bellefonte is not his specific area. He's very upbeat and wants to help with anything that we need. Mr. Gazar, the school board president, reiterated that the new school project, it's not just a school for the students, but it's a community school. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for the community to use, which I brought up. I think it would be a good idea to possibly start looking at some grants or something to extend the current walking trail that is there on Airport Road around the perimeter of the whole elementary school field or project. And everybody thought that was a really good idea. Maybe that's something that Julie or we can work together to start to look at grants and a way to fund that, because I think that would be another asset for our community. But once again, the Community Advisory Committee is a really good thing. Dr. Riksowski is really community oriented, and it's really nice to see. So that's all I wanted to report on, and I apologize for being late. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Johnson, who's on that committee? I'd be interested to know what kind of involvement we have.
There are local community leaders. There's somebody from the Faith Church, somebody from the food bank, Dave Caparella from Caparella Furniture, school board member, Youth Service Bureau, and we, if you would like to attend sometime, I know Julie and Gina were at the last one. There are community members. There's at least 2 community members who are on it. So it's just people, Barb Dan is on it. She's a store owner in the community. It's just people who have a stake in the community, and it's an excellent way. We have an agenda, but it's an excellent way to hear what's going on, and it's amazing to hear other people say, hey, I can help you with that, or, oh, we're doing this, and it's just a good way to get the word out a little bit more. But we can definitely add anybody to the list if Chief Whitmer is there, so we can add anybody to the list if you're interested in attending.
Thank you. We'll move on to new business.
No,
No.
we had the item that Doug asked about the
I'm
stamp
so
payment
sorry.
proposals.
We're good.
We have received some bids for the stamped crosswalk, and we would like to open those at this time.
I
please.
think I have to make a motion, don't I,
Do we?
to do that? I just asked to have it added to the agenda.
We
and then
did.
Now,
You'll want to make the
Motion
motion
to-
after we open them to turn them over. Yeah. To accept. Okay. All right. This is for the stamped crosswalks. As you all know, that the end of last year, we finished up the streetscape project on Spring Street. The street is on the list to be paved, and the crosswalks is the final phase of So we had, I think, a couple years of Center County liquid fuels money that's going to fund this. Fortunately, we got 2 bids that come in. One's from Laurel Asphalt, one's from Pavement Impressions, Inc. I'm going to open Laurel Asphalt first. Laurel Asphalt's bid is $93,183.20. This one went through the rain today. All right, let me see. Pavement Impressions, Inc., its total bid is $64,393.40. So what we would need would be a motion to, for staff to review the bids and select the low bidder.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second Brackville.
Any discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackville,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Under new business, Deb Berger, Bellefonte Borough Tax Collector, for the appointment to the Center County Tax Collection Committee. I'll need a motion and a second to appoint Deb Berger to the Center County Tax Collection Committee.
So moved, Cleaton.
Thank you, Debbie.
Second, Johnson.
Thank you, Doug. Is there any discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackville,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a letter from Chief Whitmer requesting ordinance amendment, Chapter 108, under Police. Could I have a motion and a second to approve advertising the ordinance amendment for council to vote on April 21st, 2025?
So move, Johnson.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Shauna. Is there discussion or comments on this? Joanne?
Okay, this is directed to Chief Whitmer. In your statement, it appears that you're asking to have the sergeant position to be removed. You're asking to have the sergeant position to either be removed or remain within this collective bargaining agreement. When I read it, it seemed that your request first says remove, but then your argument appears to say remain in the collective bargaining agreement. And related to that, you also said that there's something in the borough code mentioning sergeants as line officers, but there's nothing quoted out of the borough code in your memo. What does the borough code say about this? And when you put those together, it shouldn't be following state law. It was a little confusing to me.
So, in the borough code, sergeant falls under a line officer.
Okay.
In our collective bargaining, sergeant falls under police officer. We need to establish a clear definition because right now it states that under the borough code that the sergeant position it states under the ordinance that the sergeant position is not in the collective bargaining, meaning they don't have to follow it. But in our contract, the collective bargaining, they are listed as they do have to follow the collective bargaining. We just need to establish the definition of what sergeant is. And so what I'm asking for is that we take it out of the borough ordinances and keep it in the collective bargaining because it's been in the collective bargaining for years. And to take it out of the collective bargaining, it'd probably have to go through arbitration.
So, but, okay, let me follow that up. So the state borough code says it is a line officer and therefore not part of the collective bargaining. Shouldn't we be following what the state law says?
This is Bellefonte Borough ordinances.
Right, but we also have to follow the municipal code. And my
Yes.
question is you're saying that we should ignore what the state is saying? That's why I'm confused.
I'm following what I brought up was about our borough ordinances. If you're saying it's in the state code, I'd have to look at that. I thought that was in our borough ordinances only.
But didn't you just say that under the Borough Code, it mentions sergeants has line officers?
Yes, under the Bellefonte Borough ordinances, a line officer, a sergeant falls under line officer.
But I thought you just said that the municipal code, which is not the borough's code, but the law from the state says that.
I'm not talking about the state, I'm talking
Okay.
about the Bellefonte.
That's where my confusion
I
is
think
coming in.
it was being used interchangeably.
Yes.
But you're talking about our
I'm talking about the
ordinances.
police officers bargaining, collective bargaining.
Okay.
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with the state
No.
code, borough's code?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it has to do with the borough code.
Has to do with the
She
Bellefonte.
keeps mentioning the word state, but before, what you asked for simply was to amend the ordinance and the borough code. You never said anything about the state, right?
No.
That's confusing.
Yes.
What you're asking for is not confusing. Okay,
So
thank you.
The
Can-
confusing part is that the borough code is its own set of laws under the state. We're talking about our borough ordinances here.
Yes.
Right.
So code and
I
ordinance are two
apologize if I
different
confused
things.
you, but I'm looking to change the Bellefonte Borough ordinance to take out sergeant because it's in our collective bargaining. We just need to establish that.
Can't be there, they can't be there twice.
Correct, Randy.
Thanks for the clarification.
No
We
problem.
just have too many terms that are so similar that it makes it confusing.
Yes. It's just something that's been in, I believe, in the collective bargaining for years, and it probably should have been changed way back when, and it never was, and now I'm trying to clarify it, so it's, because you can't have it both ways.
No, thank
Good for you, chief.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions, discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We need a roll call vote on that, please.
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a letter from Chief Whitmer requesting to establish a promotion eligibility list. Can I have a motion and a second to approve that, please?
So moved.
Second, Brackbill.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have Chief Whitmer's request to establish a new eligibility list for the Bellefonte Borough Police Department for 2025. Council action is requested. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make that motion, Brackbill.
Thank you, Randy.
Second, Johnson.
Thank you, Doug. Discussion or questions on this? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
No, yes. Sorry about that.
Don't mess with the feng shui. Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like we have no public comment, and, I'm sorry.
I think Alyssa sent out an updated agenda this afternoon that added an item for a motion to approve DEP file number E1404224-006,
I do not have that on mine.
which is a license to allow the kayaking slalom course of 31 gates consisting,
We did that.
we did?
Sunnyside Paddle Park.
Yes.
Yeah, we did
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Phew,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. Okay, so council members, comments for the good of the order. Ms. Purnell, you're way down at the corner.
You were looking at me, I figured you were going to start with me first.
Yes.
I don't really have anything other than I just wanted to follow up on my comments from last week and find out whether there was any motion towards having any more information about the pollution issue over in Benner, the groundwater pollution. Remember we talked about that?
We did discuss that a little bit in our agenda meeting, because Doug also serves on the Water Authority.
Yeah, we're sort of not involved in that at all. They approached the authority on some comments, and it's not something we want to get involved with.
Yeah, I understand that, but I guess I would kind of like maybe some information from our authority on what they're doing to protect our water and what kind of things they test for, what kind of things they treat for. I just, as a general informational type thing.
We can request to have somebody from the authority, I guess, come in, and I don't know that there's a whole lot we can do. Do you have any thoughts on that? We don't have any PFAS that we know of in our water yet.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I think I would like to know, is what kind of stuff is in our water and what they test for. And
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if I'm not mistaken, Rita, I mean, I think all the tests that are done at the borough are reported on our website. I believe we have those out there, do we not, Julie? All the testing of the water.
Yes, we do our consumers' confidence report. So we do a consumer confidence report every year, so that has actually just come out new, but that is on our Go H2O website. It'll also be on the borough, the newest one will be on the, I'm not sure it's posted on the borough website yet. It is on the Go H2O for Bellefonte. It'll be on your water bill. That website is coming out on everyone's water bill over each cycle.
And then the only thing that we treat the water with, Rita, is chlorine. That's the only thing put into our water system.
Correct, and we did preliminary testing for PFAS, and we had 4 quarters of that, and there was no detects. So that would not be on the report until next year. The reports are a year back, actually. So,
Julie, how often do we do that report?
yearly.
Yeah,
That is a yearly report, but like I said, it's a year back because
Yeah.
we get all of the results. So that would be, and only things that we have a detect on are reported on the report. We test for a lot of other things that are not per se on there, but we have no detects on that. So if you wanted a full list of what we test for, we could do that.
Does that answer your question, Rita? Or do you need more information?
For now, yes. So does that mean we're going to have somebody come in and talk to us about that, or we're just going to provide the information so that?
We can always request someone from the authority to come in, and also, Rita, you're always welcome to go to an authority meeting. They have public comment. You can get up and, ask them questions. They won't probably answer them right there, but they'll get back to you. But we'll work with the president here and see if in the next, month or so we can squeeze them onto a work session or something for 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay,
Great.
that would be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Joanne?
Could you come back to me? I want to talk about something, but I can't find the times. My computer's acting up.
Sure.
Thank you.
Andy, do you have anything tonight?
Now I'm just hoping, praying for sun and dryness.
Are you tired of this?
Yeah.
Is Bella tired of this?
No, and I gave her a bath this morning. It was pretty good. She walked right in and walked right out. Like a car wash.
Mr. Mayor, do you have anything for the good of the order tonight?
Not this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Clayton?
Yes, just a reminder that April 6th through 12th is National Library Week, so find your library card, dust it off, and put it to good use.
Great, thank you. Mr. Hoderman, I wanted to say welcome back. It's like you never left.
3 days in, and I feel like I haven't left. So. There's a couple things I wanted to make not only council but the residents aware of. Speaking with our public works superintendent today, they're working on the roof at the Governor's Park restroom. They're doing some street sweeping. That started. Next week, they're probably going to begin street cleaning, probably out in the Parkview area first, and then work their way in. Matt's scheduled through May 5th through the 9th. That week, they're going to do a spring leaf collection pickup like we typically try to do once a year. And I'm assuming that's going to be right around the week before Riff Raff. And then you mentioned, just as an update, the new garbage truck. They're hoping to have that in June. That's all I have, and
You're happy to be here.
I'm not going to say that anymore.
I'm disappointed. Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Just a reminder, you need a real ID by, I think it's May 7th? May 7th, 2025. Can't fly anywhere unless you have your passport. Anyhow, that's it.
Thank you. Ms. McKee.
I'd like to remind everyone that April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. If you're aware of anyone or even see something that may concern you, please reach out to CYS or your local police and they'll take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Johanna.
Well, Jalen's not here, but she was involved with the play this weekend with Fiddler on the Roof. An amazing performance by the high school students this weekend. So that's all. I was going to say good job, but she's not here. But
Nice.
I'll pass it on, I'm sure.
Nothing from me.
Mr. Bernier.
I don't have anything.
Great, thank you.
I now have my info.
Oh, yes. Yes, Joanne, did you find your stuff?
Yes, I did. April 12th, which is this Saturday, is Watershed Cleanup Day that's sponsored by Clearwater Conservancy. The program will go from 8 a.m. to noon. We had requested at a previous council meeting that we work along the Spring Creek between Talleyrand Park and the sewage treatment plant. If you're interested in helping, contact Jenna at clearwaterconservancy.org, or you can give her a call at 814-237-0400.
Great, thank you.
She can also talk to Spring Creek Watershed. She can have my number, and Bob Igo, those folks, so those are on that committee.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Okay, can I have a motion and a second to adjourn our meeting, please? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
All opposed?